A nudnik, a real bum.
The bat clowns freak him out.
This is the theme song of the podcast of the movie of the uncle of the nephew who's a dreamer and you cannot keep a job. We watch the movie by the minute and we talk about what's in it, but we want it to be different, so we added 2 more seconds. It's UHF 62.
60 second, UHF 60 second.
I know.
Welcome back to, okay, alright, seriously everybody, welcome back to UHF 60 second. This is the podcast where I introduce myself as a co-host. My name is David, and I also introduce my other co-host, Jonathan Carlisle. I guess to introduce you, I actually have to introduce you. Jonathan.
Whew. Yes, I made it. I don't know where I went, but I made it.
You did.
Did you introduce me already?
Yes, I introduced you. Let me introduce what the concept is, what the big idea is. This movie is a podcast. Oh man, it's going to be one of those. This podcast is about a movie. This episode of this podcast is about 62 seconds of the movie, UHF. And this particular episode is about the particular 260 seconds that make up the 16th minute of this movie, which is a lie because we're doing 2 more seconds than should be in a minute. So it's not minute 16. I don't know what time it is. This episode is about a minute that begins with George taking a shock from an interocitor or an interrocitor, and ends with Pamela Finkelstein, although we don't know that's her name, saying that she was told her position was only going to be temporary. So that kind of should frame everybody out on what exactly is happening in their ears right now as we're talking.
Because this is a talking medium.
Exactly.
So I can put my googly glasses away because no one can see them.
Well, nobody except for our guest this episode.
Okay, great.
But Philo is at the end of the last episode hands George the terminals of the interocitor. And George asks what he's doing, and Philo says that he wants to see if his interocitor can withstand a sudden charge of 60,000. And we don't get... 60,000. And then at the beginning of this minute, we find out 60,000 what? 60,000 volts. Last episode, we also learned that Jonathan, our intrepid co-host, is an electrician. Jonathan, as a professional electrician, or somebody who holds the title of electrician, or is licensed as an electrician, or as somebody who knows what the word electrician means, let me ask you this.
Waiting for your actual question is like waiting for the beat to drop in some of that dubstep music. But I mean, I'm dancing the whole time, but I'm just waiting for it.
Yeah, well, I'm dancing around actually asking you the question. Here is the question that I'm going to ask to you right now. The question that we teased back in the last episode about the voltage. Now that we know that it is actually voltage that we're talking about, is 60,000 volts. Are you going to feel that? Like if you shock me with 60,000 volts, is that a lot? Because I've heard that it's more the amperage than the volts.
Yes, in general, you would be correct in believing that thing that someone else said. But, sorry, my notes are all on Voltron, so...
Perfect.
I have 60,000 Voltrons. I think that would kill you.
Wait, so Voltron is the 60,000, so times 5. That's a lot of lions.
That would be like 300,000.
Holy cow. So 300,000 lions is going to feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
What I did find out is that the standard taser, I guess, delivers 50,000 volts. 60,000 volts, not so bad, I guess, actually.
Sure, why not? Let's try it.
Yeah.
It is weird going through electrical classes and having different people teach about this. Because I would say the average electrician knows what they're doing, but they don't I would say not everybody has the same grasp of the theory of electricity. I'm not downing electricians at all, but I'm just saying that everybody across the spectrum, like not just electricians, but everybody has, different understandings of things.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it on UHS 62nd first. Electricity is relative.
Well, it kind of actually is. I've heard a lot of different people trying to explain volts and amps and resistance, the basic building blocks of an electrical circuit, in different ways. The most popular, though, is water. So volts is really just... Okay, so if someone says it's like water and they say it's like a river, what they normally say is that volts is like the slope of the river, and the amperage is like the volume of water. So if you have this little tiny trickle,
Oh man,
the voltage would be
this
that
guy's gonna
difference.
go on and on and on about
the
this
height of it,
electricity
or
stuff.
whatever. And the amperage would be how much water is going over that. So if
Could
you
really
just
go
look at
for
the
a
bottom of
Twinkie
waterfall,
wiener
that's
sandwich.
literally just like a little drip.
Yeah, I really
to it.
love all the
It's
posts
not gonna be
people
that
have
big of a
been
deal,
posting
even though
in
even
Town
if
Talk
that drip
about all
is
their
falling,
Twinkie
like,
wiener
200 feet
sandwiches.
or something. Of course, if you have a raging waterfall, or if you have a raging river, that's...
Why isn't there a longer director's cut of Waiting for Guffman?
Than just that height difference. So the voltage is the potential. The voltage is the motivation. So the amperage is the volume. Yeah, the resistance is resistance. I think everybody understands what resistance is, right?
Well, I stopped paying attention after you started talking about the something or other river, because then all I was thinking about was the deleted song in Waiting for Guffman about this bulging river.
But electricity is relative, because that voltage, the potential difference, is always in relation to what else it is. I can have what we call a hot wire, which means it's dangerous. The only reason it's dangerous is because you are at a different potential. If you touch that wire and you are grounded, like the electrons are going to use you, that's why it's dangerous. If you were at the same potential as that hot wire, there's no problem. You technically can touch an electrically charged wire, like a hot wire, basically. As long as you're not touching anything else, nothing will happen to you because you're not completing the circuit. In this case, he's getting the arcs. You see those nice animated blue streaks across the screen. Mm-hmm. The arcs is just the electrons like trying to use him as a pathway that they have to literally cross that span. And it's blue because they're hot. Of course, it's not real, so it doesn't matter what color they made it, but they make it blue because, the white, blue, violet, probably, I guess would be the typical arc colors.
So this all brings up a very important point. I'm glad that you brought up about the hot wires, because I always thought that C-3PO in Empire Strikes Back was just talking complete malarkey when he's covered in the wires from the Millennium Falcon and he says, "Help, I think I'm melting." Why would he think he's melting? He's covered in wires. But now that I know that there are hot wires, I understand that he was in danger of melting down. So thank you for clearing that up.
Good. I'm glad somebody was listening.
I always listen. I don't really often care that much, but I always listen.
Great. Oh, but I like when the shock starts, when the arcs start happening. I love Terry's. She just like jumps out of frame. She's gone.
Yeah, that's good.
But as soon as they're done, she is like immediately, as soon as it cuts back to George, like she's right back there.
Well, she's checking out to make sure he's okay.
What I figured she's probably doing, maybe Terry has some like real world electrical knowledge. What we were always taught as electricians working together, if someone's working in a environment or situation where it could be dangerous, if someone were to be shocked and they were being actively shocked, meaning that they were like stuck and they couldn't get off, then you were to assist them. But the easiest thing on a construction site that they would always talk about is just look for a 2x4, because wood is not very electrically conducive. So we would always joke about just punching each other with a 2x4.
So she's like jumping off screen because she's like, I know I saw a piece of wood around here somewhere.
Yeah, those pallets outside.
Yeah,
break it down, and then get the nails out.
In that shot too of George being electrocuted, or having the voltage pass through, or whatever the proper phrase is.
Oh, I should say, I'm going back to the electrical. The reason why we all think that electricity is dangerous is because the reason why 60,000 volts and 50,000 volts, that like you said, they make cages out of it. So obviously they use them, but they don't kill people. It's just because of the way the voltage affects our body, and because those are like short bursts, they're not very long. But the voltage that we actually encounter in everyday life, like homes and stuff, the 120 volts and 240 volts, those are closer to what affects our heart. Not our heart rate, but the frequency, I guess, of our bodies and stuff. That affects our heart more than the 50,000 volts would. So you can actually stop someone's heart with your house voltage. That's why it's so dangerous.
George still has his Burger World work shirt on. So this just a reminder to everybody. This is all so far happening on the same day.
What if he just doesn't have any other clothes?
Well,
doesn't have to be the same day, right?
I think so, because we've gone from thing to thing to thing. Plus, he does have other clothes. We're going to see here in just a few seconds that he's got other clothes.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that would be weird. That would be really weird if somehow like those were the only clothes that he had. Like when he showed up to apply for the Burger World job, he's like showed up already in the uniform.
Oh, my friend just gave me these.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
Which probably did happen because as we figured out, we think Bob got him the job there. So he probably, all his clothes went missing one day and he just grabbed one of Bob's work uniforms.
Now, they share an apartment together. What if George's side is just that huge, messy side, and maybe he has other clothes, but they're just like all over the place, and Bob's side is like if you go to Bob's closet, he just has a ton of clothes. He has all the uniforms you would need. He's got all the suits, and I don't know, maybe he's got a turnstile in there.
Turnstile. Maybe so.
Do you say turnstile or No, never mind. That was last minute.
I like Tony Greer's delivery of the, it works. I like that a lot. And I really like, I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know that I even want to know if it was intentional, but there's a really wonderful, at the end of that line, it works. The score comes back in again by this wonderful score by Jean Duprat. It kind of comes in with like this finger snap but kind of like a crunchy. I don't know what all it is. I think there's a couple sounds going on there when that score comes back in, but there's like a finger snap and like a sort of like a crunch, but also kind of like a brush on a snare or something.
Maybe a crackle.
Yeah, like a crackle. Yeah. But it also syncs up almost exactly with, I just always imagine this, Philo's got the two terminals of the interocitor in his hands. And I always imagine like that sound, he's like clicking them off or shutting them down or something, even though I know that that's part of the score. I don't know. Have you ever?
No, I know what you're saying. Maybe Philo has more to do with this movie than what we think he does. I don't know. Maybe he's initiating the score radio, which progresses the plot onto the next thing.
Interesting. I like that. Yeah.
But yeah, so suddenly it is the next day, all of a sudden. So I think, especially in this movie, it's PG-13? PG. I'm sure it's PG, right? Yeah.
Now, do you say PG?
Huh?
Do you say PG?
Do you say PG or PG?
I say PG. It sounded like you were saying PG.
This movie is PG. That's a little pitchy. Yeah, so Terry and George, he just got a shock. Does Terry just take him home and dump him at his apartment and just like, I'll see you later? Well,
George drove there. It's George's Nash.
So you think she can't drive, or?
Well, I don't know. it's his car, unless that's Terry's car. And he was borrowing it from her to drive he and Bob back from Burger World back to his apartment. I mean, don't we think that's George's car? I mean, I guess we did find out that
but
it's actually
I don't see why he couldn't
Terry's uncle.
Why she couldn't drive it if he was incapacitated.
Oh, you're saying from the I don't know that he was incapacitated. He seemed like he was still alert, very much so. His eyes were wide open at the end of that shock.
Even if he was like kind of stuck in that position, his hands are kind of at like 2 and 10 already. So
yeah, yeah. I don't know. That didn't ever occur to me, but we did establish that it's Terry's uncle, and we had thought previously that it was George's uncle, so everybody thought it was George's car. Maybe it's Terry's car.
Maybe we just don't know this movie like we thought we did. Since we've already had so many electrical teachings, and the more you know, then I just can't go without saying that 10 and 2 was what we were always taught. We did a safety meeting one time, and the guy said because of the prevalence of airbags, it's actually safer to be more at like 8 and 4 or 7 and 5, something like that. Because then when the airbag deploys, it doesn't push your hands out into your face or anything like that. Like your hands are already down. Just a little less face damage for our listeners.
Well, I only drive with the thumb on my left hand, so I think I'll probably won't have any problem with the airbag.
Can you take your thumb off your left hand?
Can I do what with my thumb?
You said you only drive with your thumb on your left hand. And I was wondering, can you take it off?
No. Well, can I take it off the steering wheel? Yeah, but then I wouldn't have anything.
Oh.
That's the thumb on my left hand is the only thing touching the steering wheel.
I thought you had a removable thumb and you had to put it on so you could drive.
No, like I take my thumb off, hold my thumb in my hand, and press the thumb against the steering wheel.
That's not what I thought, but that works too.
That may be how the shop teacher drives, possibly, because we know he has a detachable thumb.
We've got a lot of good things to look forward to.
So I gotta talk a little bit actually more about. So we get some really kind of nice score here. I want to go back to the score a little bit by John Dupree. He did Weird Al did say that is his voice doing the doo wops and the doo doo wooies in the score right there in the section where it kind of transitions to the next day with the tower in the sky. So that is Weird Al doing the vocals right there, but it is John Dupree's score. I can't remember where I came across this. Oh, it was in the commentary, I guess. Weird Al had mentioned that originally Wendy Carlos was slated to do the score for this film, which blew my mind. Even though I've listened to the commentary a couple times when I was prepping for this minute, somehow I hadn't really caught that previously, which kind of brought into relief something that I had seen when you and I went and saw Weird Al on the ill-advised, ridiculously self-indulgent vanity tour. At the merch table, they had a vinyl record, an LP of Peter and the Wolf by Weird Al. Oh. And it was very, very expensive because I think it's out of print or somehow rare. And so I was irritated because I was glad they had a record, and then I saw how much it was and that it was Peter and the Wolf, and I was like, what in the world? I guess I didn't look at it closely enough.
60,000 volts worth of money?
It was 1.1 gigawatts of dollars. And yeah, I think it was like $60 for this record. Or maybe $85. I don't remember. Anyways.
Or $62.
It could have been. I don't think it was. It probably should have been. Somebody missed an opportunity. And I guess I missed the opportunity to purchase it because it was Weird Al's doing Peter and the Wolf with Wendy Carlos, which again blows my mind. So Wendy Carlos was a pioneer in the synthesizer realm with popularizing the Moog and other kinds of synthesizers like that. And also, I don't know, this is just like a weird gaping hole in my knowledge of Weird Al. It boggles my mind that album came to pass, the Peter and the Wolf album with Wendy Carlos and Weird Al. It was nominated for a Grammy in 1988 for Best Children's Album. And they wrote a new character for Peter and the Wolf. So it's kind of like a parody, or not a parody, but kind of like a lampooning of Peter and the Wolf. They wrote a new character into the story, which is a janitor with the name of Bob. So kind of like some elements from this movie, but mixed up a little bit. But Wendy Carlos, people may know from the 1968 album Switched on Bach, which is an album that I have had since I was a kid because my dad had it and I really like it a lot. Other people may know Wendy Carlos from the Clockwork Orange soundtrack and from the Tron soundtrack. So like kind of a big deal that Wendy Carlos was going to do this album and then strangely did not do this album. Kind of a little tangent there.
I decided to go with the guy who was about to do the TMNT movie.
John Dupree. So that's all I have at this point about the score.
Great. I have, as they walk into this office, I have... We're just not listening to each other. Just, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. As they walk into this office, there is a big old picture in the background.
Mm-hmm.
That picture is actually of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
If you actually search 1950s Tulsa, you will see not the same exact picture, but
if you search the entire city of Tulsa,
the entire city,
you will find a picture
Tulsa.
Of the city.
Yes, there's a aerial view that's almost the same angle as that one in the movie. So I was like, oh, boom, easy. I was kind of actually expecting that maybe it would be a different city and we would have to do some crazy searching to find out where where this place actually is supposed to be.
Not,
but I think
not
it's,
the case.
I think it's just Tulsa. I think they're just owning it. This is Tulsa.
Mm-hmm. There are 2 sconces, I think that's the right word, on either side of that picture, which are like, to me, seem like they are outdoor lights. They seem very bizarre. I never really noticed them before this, preparing for this minute, but
Yeah.
those do not belong there.
I mean, you can put them inside. Obviously, they did. But I'm actually confused about this door. This door has a knob in the middle. So going off of where the wall is, actually, I don't know where they're walking into. Because the door that with the knob in the middle that we saw before, they walked right into Philo's lab. And now they're using what my brain was saying was the same door. And like, no, they're going into a different room now. But that looks like an outside because there's a window right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in actuality, it's a soundstage.
Childhood ruined.
Yeah. But
it's not a very good soundstage because that door is about to fall off.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it looks like it only actually has one hinge that's actually affixed.
Yeah, they were like, well, only the top hinge is going to be in the frame, so don't worry about the bottom one.
Yeah, it's actually cut off. Like there is no door below where you can see with the camera. It's like
they're all wearing
the opposite of
or shorts or something.
Yeah.
So the door's all cut off at the bottom too.
That's kind of like an urgent urban myth.
Did you hear that? Did you hear?
Did you hear about Star Wars Episode 1? Or was it Episode 2? No, it must have been Episode 1. Didn't he George Lucas build all the sets to 6 foot or whatever, and then he cast Liam Neeson, who was taller than that, so they had to like rebuild all the sets taller. So it's like that.
I did not hear that one.
Oh,
actually.
really? Oh,
Or if
I
I
thought
did,
that
I've
was
forgotten it.
yeah. So
I like to learn things and relearn things. So I like to forget things so I can relearn them.
Well, I think we have the same thing going on here, except for in reverse.
Oh, okay. So you like to forget things?
Oh, the set is in reverse.
Oh.
So what they did was they found out
They made
Liam
him too
Neeson's
tall.
shoe size and then made the set accordingly so that none of his shoes would fit in the set. So it's kind of the opposite.
On this set, on UHF.
Yes. Yeah. Well, not on Star Wars.
In
That'd be
1980.
ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. What are we talking about?
We don't meet Liam Neeson here, but we do meet somebody in this office.
Yes.
Do you want to introduce this one?
Yeah, so I said the character's name at the beginning of the minute, but we don't learn her name in this minute, but it's the actress or the actor is Fran Drescher. People may recognize her from Saturday Night Fever, I guess was a thing that she
I
had
did not
early
know
on.
that.
I've never seen
didn't know.
Saturday Night. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I have not seen it either. Actually, do you say preparing or preparing? Yeah. So
Pre-airing.
prepping for this with my notes, I watched the most Saturday Night Fever I've ever watched in my entire life on YouTube clips looking for Fran Drescher. And I'll say based on those clips, I don't really want to go watch it.
I like I watched the most Saturday Night Fever. I like that. Just made me think of Saturday Night Fever as like a quantity. I watched the most.
Would you like some Saturday Night Fever, sir?
Yeah.
Oh,
How much Saturday Night Fever would you like? Because boy howdy, we've got quite a lot.
We have too much, sir.
Also, The Nanny. She had a television show called The Nanny. She had a television show called Beautician in the Bees. And also, of course, she had a very brief, or not very brief, but a smaller role in This Is Spinal Tap as
Yes.
Bobby Fleckman.
Small role, big personality.
What's that? What?
I said a small role, big personality.
Smaller role, big personality. Much like this film, although the role is not quite so small and the personality is still quite large. I always thought that when they walked in here, when she's facing away from them in her chair, I always thought that she was wearing like I don't know what the right word is, like a halter top or something. I always thought that she was had a bare midriff, which
Yes.
always seemed really? You thought this as well?
I concur. Yes.
Yeah, but obviously it is a large pink belt.
Yeah, because how could you make it any larger in the 80s?
Yeah, so they took Liam Neeson's shoe size, and that was the length of the belt. And I'm not talking about circumferentially, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about up and down. Because I don't know.
Oh, he has really small feet.
What?
I mean, the belt's a big belt, but it's...
Yeah. Wouldn't that be a big... Oh, no, you're right. You would have small feet. I thought it seems so much larger to me, but then when I think about a foot on the back of Fran Drescher. Anyway, so we have Fran Drescher. And
I love that when we are introduced to her by very staccato typing. And normally you hear like a ding.
Yeah.
You just hear... Actually, the subtitles say the typewriter typing or whatever it says. And it only says that like one time, and then the subtitle goes away, and it doesn't even bother to come back for the other ones.
Yep. Yeah, you could almost say that that's not very much Saturday Night Fever of typing.
Yeah, that's just a little Satnafi.
Satnafi. Dude, the earrings, the eyeshadow, it's awesome. Again, like who else? There's nobody else that is. So the character's name, I gave it away. So this is Pamela Finkelstein.
Now you're worried about spoilers.
Yeah, I know. Dude, she's just Pamela Finkelstein. Like when I can't remember if I saw like commercials for, I don't remember if it was The Nanny or if it was Beautician and the Beast when that came out, but I just remember being disappointed in this person. Like, why would she do some other project?
like UHF made her so much money that she should be done.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was still probably like a teenage, maybe in my late teens when those shows were coming out, and I just because I'd never seen anybody else in this movie in anything else. Weird Al was never in another movie to my knowledge, and the guy who plays Philo obviously didn't know anything about General Hospital, and all these people weren't in anything else, and so I was like, why did she?
Well, Bob was in Labyrinth, but that's little known.
Yep. So do you pronounce that last name? Do you say Bo or do you say
Bowie?
Bowie. Okay.
Bowie. David Bowie.
Yeah, he was in Labyrinth, but she kind of like let the team down by appearing in something else because it destroyed the illusion that UHF was a thing. When she was in something else, and it's like, oh, well, she's an actor because she's in several projects. She's not actually Pamela Finkelstein. And it was like, I really felt let down by her, and so I never watched any of her shows.
I have a feeling that when The Nanny was popular on television, that there was probably a lot of fans of that show that didn't even know UHF existed, and I think that was probably weird for me to watch her, who, yes, this is all I ever knew her from at that time, and then
yeah,
you'd see that, and I was like, well, this is not the same thing, and I feel like I'm in a crowded room, but I'm alone. David Bowie's tie is ginormous.
Tie is ginormous. Tie?
What? Say that again.
That again. Yeah. So she launches into these guys. I love Georgia's face, the eye gag and everything. It's amazing.
So I like that last minute we had a female doing her, ah! And then this minute we get a female doing her, or that didn't sound like her doing it, but you know what I mean.
I kind of want to take that audio and put it into the movie now, though, because that would be pretty amazing.
Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no.
Is that Singing in the Rain that we're getting into now?
Yeah, I thought we could take our own audio and put it in the movie.
Pretty soon we're going to be editing Sabotage into this.
Sabotage into UHF. That I don't even know what that would look like, but maybe somebody will show us what that looks like.
There is some sabotage in this movie later on.
That's true. That's true.
I would even say there's some Saturday Night Fever worth of sabotage in here.
Whoa.
Yep.
How much Saturday Night Fever?
That's like a 2 Travoltas worth.
Oh, whoa.
Is that a lot? How much is a Travolta? How much Travolta can you get into a Saturday Night Fever? Is my question to you.
He was pretty slim back then.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of Travolta in Travolta, unless you're talking, again, you're talking about small roles, big personalities. Then you're talking about a lot of Travolta.
Well, I always want to be talking about a lot of Travolta.
Yeah. Speaking of, this is a total side trip, but when I was a young kid reading Garfield comics, John Arbuckle's mom, I think it is.
Her name was Alana Travolta?
She wanted to be a Travolta. She would make comments about John Travolta's chest hair, and I didn't even really know. I feel like I knew who John Travolta was, but
this is some deep dive Garfield. I don't even remember John having a mom. I think you were having a fever dream, dude. Maybe a Saturday night fever dream.
No. I'm having a lot of Saturday night fever. I'm having a triple
Wait, what?
fever dream.
Ay. I think we better start wrapping things up because it's going to get stuff is going to happen here. Oh, going back, stuff is going to happen. Going back just a little bit when they're walking up to the studio or to the station. George talks about working at a fish market, which I thought was odd given the fact that we know that in the last month he's worked at Floyd's Fish Market. So apparently something there stuck with him.
Well, at least he knows that when you work at a fish market, you have to clean and gut fish all day. Although I would wonder if Bob perhaps made his way up into management like he did at Burger World. I'm guessing George was the one that had to clean and gut fish all day, and Bob was... So when George said that to Bob, Bob was probably like, well, I didn't really have to do that either, so...
Well, I think what I actually, like, all joking aside, I think what he means, like, for serious, I think what he means, he's like, it's just like working at the fish market, except for you don't have to clean and gut fish all day. He could have easily just said, like, oh, it's just like working at Burger World, except for you don't have to flip burgers all day, because he wasn't flipping burgers there, and he wasn't cutting and gutting fish at the fish market. What he was doing was standing around imagining, and that is actually what he's going to do at this station, is he's just going to sit around and imagine things, and then they're going to happen.
Wow. Breaking it down. I like it.
That I just gave you guys a full Saturday Night Fever worth of evaluation.
I'm full. I'm going to have to give you my keys. No more for me.
All right, well, let's put the carrot in on this episode, I guess.
I'm sorry for that burst. I think I just popped my earphones off and everything when I did that. So
what?
You got me with that comment.
All right, listeners, let us know how much Saturday Night Fever you have for this episode at Stanley's, but no, at Town. I don't know. Go on Facebook. Town Talk. That's what it is.
Town Talk.
Now you're saying Town Talk.
Yes.
And I would say Town Talk.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Hyphen or no?
I can't
hear your hyphens.
It's on Facebook. Go there, people. Find out.
Or just go to uhf60second.com, and I think all the links are on there. And you can see some other stuff too.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff on there, actually. Like a lot of cool stuff. Some of it doesn't even have anything to do with this place. And by this place, I mean this podcast that is placed in your ears right now. Check out our MySpace. Also, do not review us. And come back for the next episode where we will probably talk about minute 17.
Let me be your hog. Let me be your hog now. I said, baby, 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 baby.
Is that like the most ending we've ever done?
Yeah, it is, actually. It's weird. It didn't, Oh, well, why not? Why not do a regular one once every 16 episodes?
Sure.